Resto mods. The mere mention of them seems to be a controversial topic. Some people love them and others consider them sacrilege. For me, my position is fairly simple. There's a right way to do one and there's a wrong way to do one. The Kimera Evo37 has definitely been done right. The car's actually been around for a while now, revealed around 4 years ago, but with resto mods being a big talking point again after the reveal of the Encore Series 1, still on the fence with that one, and my recent love for all things Lancia, I felt like talking about it. As you can see, this is a recreation of the legendary Lancia 037, famous for sticking with rear-wheel drive into the Group B era when everyone else was switching over to four-wheel drive. It seemed foolish, but in 1983 Walter Rall and Marco Allen won the manufacturer's title, making it the final car to win the top class of the WRC with rear-wheel drive, albeit with a bit of trickery. Now that's fairly well known about, so on to Kimera themselves. The company was set up in 2008 by Luca Betti, an Italian rally driver who competed in the European Rally Championship and the World Rally Championship, achieving some success in the former. To begin with, the company was a motorsport team running, unsurprisingly, rally cars. In 2013, however, they began restoring classic cars, which was a stepping stone into the development of an 037 resto mod that would be built from the ground up. This project would of course become the Evo37. To be honest, I use resto mod in a loosest sense because the Kimera is certainly not based off of one of the 200 037 Stradale road cars. It is in fact based off of a Lancia Beta Monte Carlo, itself the car the original 037 was based off of. Even then, only the steel monocoque came from the original car and everything else is brand new. Of course, that hasn't just been left as is. That'd be like having a tiger with a skeletal structure made of jelly. It'd be loose and wobbly. That's why it's been strengthened with new tubular structures to vastly improve torsional rigidity, so basically everything is new or completely altered. You might imagine that the Evo 37 has a new, small, supercharged 2.1 litre 4-cylinder engine like the original 037. And you'd be right. Mostly. You see, that engine produced around 200 horsepower, and that wouldn't give this new car enough top-end power or acceleration. Now, for the solution, the company looked to the 037's successor, the fire-breathing Group B Delta S4, which had a supercharged and turbocharged 1.8 litre 4-cylinder. Now, the Kimera has these, but with the 037's 2.1 litre capacity retained. With the two working in harmony, 550 horsepower is possible along with near perfect power delivery. Now, I love a naturally aspirated engine as much as the next person, but there is absolutely nothing cooler or perhaps more perfect for acceleration and power delivery than a twin-charged engine, especially when it powers a shape as sublime and masterful as this. How to truly describe this car's appearance? I feel like there's too much aggressiveness in the styling for it to be truly beautiful. What it has is just pure visual impact and purity that simply can't be faked. I think that's the best way to describe this car actually. It feels real and like its own thing, despite the fact that it's a recreation of an old rally car and began life as a rusty old Lancia. The team that helped create the Evo 37 reflects that perfectly. The engine development was overseen by Claudio Lombardi, the man who designed the last ever Ferrari F1 V12 and who crucially headed Lancia's powertrain department during the Group B era. Chassis development was led by two-time Lancia WRC champion Mickey Baison, and the car was signed off by Sergio Lemoun, the man who was in charge of the original 037 project. So you know what these people are talking about, and the skill and knowledge that they possess do shine through into the finished project, which is about as close to a modern Group B car as you can get. Sorry, GI Yaris. Now, for a lot of resto mods, they unfortunately feel very much like they were built by a very tiny company in a shed in terms of overall quality and finish, but the Kimera is more like a special edition model by a large manufacturer in that regard. And the interior itself, I actually think it's better than anything Lancia themselves have come up with. It's near Singer's level of quality, and look at that. Not a single screen in sight, just a pure, authentic analogue experience. It's not held back by all these modern systems. The only real problem, however, is, like other cars of this type, the cost. Earlier examples were first sold for a rather eye-opening €450,000, but then the later ones shot up to a really rather scary €840,000. But when you look at everything else available, this is a lot more special. It's more of a proper driver's car, and actually a lot cheaper than things like the latest Lamborghini Pheromone or whatever they're calling it. And even compared to other resto mods, this is just in a class of its own, simply by being something more than an improved, or worsened, version of a classic. More than that, it almost takes you into a world where Lancia hadn't floundered and abandoned all performance cars. For me to say that just shows how complete of a package this car is, and why it should be treasured and remembered above so many other modern supercars because of it. So if you've enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, consider leaving a like on it and subscribing, and hopefully you've had a great day or night or evening or wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.